Aquarion is the largest for-profit interest in Easton, and this is certainly a valid question. Aquarion earns money from its Easton reservoirs, and over time it has expanded them for-profit operations to other towns. We certainly value Aquarion's role as the steward of our watershed, but we need to assure that we have a true partnership. Easton citizens currently subsidize Aquarion with a very favorable tax rate. Unless it equally is in our interest, it is not the responsibility of its citizens to subsidize a profit-making endeavor that is expanding business to other towns. Easton's land resources are valuable. Our land is a source of revenue. As your selectman, I would support charging a committee of informed citizens to look at this.
It appears that Aquarion is very undertaxed. Some members of our campaign group looked into the taxes paid by Aquarion and brought their findings to my attention. When I looked at the valuations of some Aquarion land, I found that many parcels were valued lower than the state recommendations for the past 18 years, if not longer. Further, I found that there are thousands of acres of reservoir property assessed at about $3,000 per acre. By contrast, there's reservoir property in nearby towns appraised at $30,000 or $40,000 per acre. If the reservoirs of Easton were appraised at the same $30,000 per acre that we found for a Fairfield reservoir, our town tax revenue from Aquarion would be about $400,000 higher per year. As selectmen, I would call for better management, better oversight, so we don't have assessments that cause our homeowners to be picking up the tax bill that should be paid by Aquarion. And if I have to go in and do it myself, I will. This gap in management of our revenue may have cost Easton residents millions of dollars over time. We must do better.
The tax rate for Aquarion's land is set by the value of its land. It's not an arbitrary number. It's not at our discretion. The town has been diligent and taken an aggressive approach in trying to value that land as highly as possible. Aquarion's land is assessed like all other land in town. A private outside company is hired every 5 years to determine its market value. Market value varies by town. I mentioned a reservoir in Fairfield being valued at a much higher rate. Land in Fairfield is valued at a much higher rate. It's the nature of where we live and the difference between our communities. That can't be argued. The value, as I said, is not at the town's discretion. The town has been aggressive and tried to value it as highly as it could. In fact, Aquarion challenged one of its recent valuations and won that challenge in court. So it's not like the town is sitting back and saying, it is what it is. They are trying to get there and get the most out of Aquarion. It is the largest landowner in the town, and they should pay their fair share. We have been good neighbors of theirs. Maybe it is time to go to them and negotiate some sort of an agreement, negotiate something that is more beneficial to the town. But it can't just be arbitrarily valued at a higher rate.
I think this, as I said, this would be something that we should, whoever the new selectman is, should look with their fellow selectmen on this area as a possible revenue source for us, higher taxes.
I don't think what I'm suggesting is arbitrary. I spoke to Martin Heft at the Office of Policy and Development in Hartford, and he agreed that it was very strange that there should be a factor of 10 difference between our town and the one next door to us that has similar housing values. $3,000 per acre. In the past 2 years, 3 residential vacant lots were sold. That is how the Aquarion Reservoir is categorized. 3 vacant lots were sold for an average of $200,000 per acre. There are currently 23 properties on the market listed as residential vacant lots. They are averaging $75,000 per acre. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's very hard to believe that we can't do a lot better here.
I do agree it was worth pursuing. Obviously, we want to lessen the burden on the taxpayer. We just talked about high property taxes. And if we can get more out of Aquarion, I absolutely think we should. The options need to be pursued, but we cannot just continue to go the same route that we have done when we've lost in court and we've lost challenges to it. So I do think we need to look at other options, and we do need to look at other possibilities.
Okay, Ira, we'll start with you this time. What would you as selectmen do to attract more people to our town and to improve property values?
A well-managed town that has a clear direction and is intrinsically desirable will naturally attract more people and higher values. Marketing can help, but it works best if it builds on a strong foundation of substantive improvement. I'm frankly less concerned with where values are next year than where they will be in 10 years, because I'm concerned about our direction. I want us to figure out the fiscally sustainable path for Easton and for us to plot our course to reach our goals. We will never all agree on exactly what should be done and how, but none of us want to see our town deteriorate. These are complex problems that do not have simple solutions, and surely the solutions we find will come about through a process of collaboration with input from many people who have specific expertise. I want us to ask the right questions and to plan our town's future, and to talk about it frankly and openly so that different ideas can come forward.
When you talk about attracting more people to our town, it is on all of us who live in the town to be our town's cheerleaders. Spread the word about what a wonderful community it is and why we love being here. You can talk about the unique benefits, you can talk about the farms, you can talk about the open space, you can talk about our school system, which is doing incredibly well. And that is an attractive feature for young families, for people with kids who are considering having kids and looking for a community to call their own. Recent test scores put our elementary school students 5th in the state. Out of 169 communities, 5th in the state in cumulative math and English scores. That's pretty impressive. And people in town may not realize it. People outside of town may not realize it. But it is a selling point when you're trying to attract people to our community. Another thing to attract people to our community is where we are right now, the senior center. It is vibrant, it is active, it provides services to our seniors that they love, that they are part of, and it is a value and asset to our community. It's another thing we can tout in trying to attract more people here. People who come here love it. I am one of those people. I have talked to numerous families in recent years that moved here from whether it's Fairfield or New York or Los Angeles that said, you know what, I'm so happy I landed in Easton. It is the community that I want. When we talk about property values, yes, home values are down. It's a good thing when you're looking for a home, not a good thing when you're trying to sell it. So people come to our town because they can get more value in their house than they can, say, in Fairfield. So in order to point out all of those things, it falls on us. If we want to attract more people to our town, it falls on all of us in order to sell it.
While I certainly do not want Easton population to decrease, I don't believe that most citizens want to increase our population density. People move here for the rural, bucolic nature of our town. That's certainly what my husband and I did, and probably many of you here in the room. I would like to improve property values by decreasing taxes. High taxes are definitely an issue, as we've discussed, and as we've brought up, possibly with Aquarion, we might be able to find additional revenue. Certainly good schools are equally important and will naturally draw families to a town. I have a record of active involvement in improving education, specifically in improving curriculum and also in hoping to remove Common Core in the future. I do also believe that my commitment to transparency will increase the interest for people to come to our town.
It's not really something that's very much in our control, but transportation would be something at the state level that would be tremendously beneficial to Easton. That is, if people could get around to other places from Easton more quickly, that would be a big plus, but you know, I'm not the governor, And, you know, I don't see that something we could do something about. It is interesting. You know, you learn a lot canvassing, going door to door, and a lot of people talk about that there are a lot of people leaving. You know, and other people, some people say everything's great just the way it is, and then other people say my neighbors are leaving. I know other people are trying to sell. So both things can't be simultaneously true. I think we need to think about ways of improving our town.
So the second half of that question was about property taxes. Unfortunately, all of Connecticut, property taxes are down, or property values. Sorry, property values. Property values are down all across Connecticut. It's not just in Easton. Our price recovery is lagging, and that has to do with our state economy, with the business and economic decisions that are going on in the state level. So until that improves, our property values here in town will not see huge improvement, will not grow, and will not increase to what they were several years ago because of what's going on in the state. We, again, can do the best to market our community, to sell our community. And just because we're trying to attract new people to the town does not mean it's trying to increase population density. It's not changing our community as the way it is. It's just sharing it with more people who may not be aware of it and getting some of those houses off the market that so many of us see every day.
I think we've all said similar things as far as people wanting to move here for bucolic Easton, and we found this to be a great place, and people will come, and hopefully after Connecticut hopefully goes through this bad patch in the next year, we will see improved property values, and the state will, and more people will be moving into town, and we'll all be doing better.
Christie, we'll start with you this time. Discuss your opinion of the town meeting as a legislative branch of our town government. Discuss your vision of our town government.
Our town government is here to serve the people. It's here to serve the town. That is the role of our elected officials, is to represent the concerns, the interests, the desires of the people in our town who they are elected or appointed to represent. The town meeting is part of our history. It's part of our town. It's there by statute. It's our legislative branch. It is an invaluable opportunity for people to express their concerns, to bring issues to the forefront, and to discuss it in an open forum where things can be decided and the future of the town can be moved forward. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work smoothly. We've seen that recently. People need to be given the opportunity to express their voice, express their concerns, and to have that open dialogue as to what the future of our town may look like, what needs to be done to address certain concerns, ordinances, passing the budget. All of those things need to be discussed in that open forum. It is a part of our town. It is the way we legislate in our community. And as I said, it's a good opportunity for people to discuss and encourage ideas. It doesn't always happen as smoothly as we may all like, but we can probably address that in a different way. But I think it is great for people to be able to speak openly and freely about whether it's the budget or an ordinance that is being proposed.
To be clear, it is a fact, not an opinion, that the town meeting is the legislative body of our town government. The selectmen are the executive or administrative branch of our government. They do not represent the citizens as an RTM or town council represents their citizens. We represent ourselves as members of our legislative body, the town meeting. My vision for our town government as it now exists is that the Board of Selectmen will work to inform citizens about the legal structure of our government, and instead of acting as an adversary to petition town meetings, the Board of Selectmen would respect the legislative body, assisting petitioning citizens in carrying out the legal process, encouraging other citizens to attend the meeting and to respect the legal rights of citizens